How's it going, everyone? It's the MUX Wrestling Show back here again with another video, and this time it's the 205 live review from this week. I changed the setup a little bit. There's this lighting here, and I don't know. It's kind of weird, kind of okay. I don't know. I just tried it out. I don't have a professional setup. It is what it is. I'm just doing these videos for fun. And to state my opinion, I'm not doing this for the quality of the video, but my own analysis or my own understanding of the shows and my review and what I think about the shows, basically. So this isn't about the quality of the product. This is about my brains. You're picking my brains, even though I'm no genius or whatever. I just love wrestling, and I feel like I understand wrestling. So 205 Live, it starts off with Cedric Alexander versus Noam Dar. Now, I said this last week, and I always believe this. I was never really a huge fan of Noam Dar. I loved what he did in the ring. I mean, in the ring he was good. He still is. He's amazing. But as a character, I never really liked Noam Dar. This week, though, he showed character. He showed who he is or what he likes to do. He's a heel. Perfect. I loved it. It's you're showing character. They gave him the mic after the match, and he said that. I'll get into what he said. Basically, it's Cedric Alexander versus Noam Dar. They continued the whole Cedric and Alicia Fox thing from Monday Night Raw. So she's backstage and she's talking to Cedric, and she's like, what, I'll be looking at your match tonight, and he's all pumped up. He's trying to impress her, and he likes that Alicia's watching his match, and Corey says that they're dating. So apparently they are dating on TV. That is. So the match itself, in the beginning, was medium paced, but it was a mat-based match. It wasn't high-flying like you would expect from most cruiserweights, but I like that there's diversity in the cruiserweights. Every single man brings something different to the table, and that's what I love about the cruiserweights. A funny thing here, Austin Aries on commentary, and I was getting bored. I was like, okay, this is good, but just pick it up a little. And Austin Aries is like, any man with 4 limbs, it's hard to get the job done or to complete the job done without your 4 limbs. Like, he said something like that, and then he's like, well, that's not the case if you're Zach Gowen. Or is it Gowen or Gowen? I don't know. Remember that dude from, the Ruthless Aggression era? When I was growing up, I felt so bad for that guy, the one-legged guy. He would get his ass whooped by everyone, and Vince McMahon hated him. I love that storyline. So that was pretty good to hear that he mentioned his name. So basically, the match itself, Noam Dar was dominant throughout the match. The match was okay. I like that they're building Noam up as this heel, and he is dominant, and that's what he did in this match. He basically fucked Cedric Alexander up, and he wins with a running kick, and he pins him 1, 2, 3, and he dedicates the win at the end to Alicia Fox, Cedric's girlfriend. So showing character, brilliant. Then we were backstage with TJ Perkins and Rich Swann, and TJ Perkins basically says to Swan, "You just got lucky with Brian Kendrick. You're not gonna get lucky with me." TJP showing that little heelish side of him. He's not fully babyface anymore, so that was pretty good to see. But I don't know how that's gonna play out. He turns heel and he comes out to that that Sonic or Mega Man theme song or whatever, that video game theme song, and he does the dab or whatever. I don't know how that's gonna play once he's a heel, but he basically says, "Hey Swanee, you were lucky. You know that, right?" And Swan's like, "No, I wasn't lucky," and he just slaps it off. Whatever. Then we get third match: Ariya Daivari versus Jack Gallagher. That's not the third match of the night, but the third match of their feud. And I personally, I'm a huge fan of this feud. I love Gallagher and Daivari. They're both amazing. So throughout the match, how Daivari had attacked Gallagher on Monday night, and he had injured his, I believe it was his left knee or the left leg or whatever, and Daivari was working on his leg the whole time. I love when they do that in wrestling. Why do you need to hit body slams when you have already injured his leg, and you can work on it? Hit him with like the elbow drops on his leg, or putting him in leg locks, Boston Crab, or the sharpshooter, or whatever it is that whatever move you'd like to use. So I really liked how he worked on his leg or his knee, and then he wins. Daivari wins the match with a frog splash. A couple of near falls in this match. Interesting matchup, and I'm glad Daivari got the win because it continues the feud and it makes him look strong. And at the same time, you could say Gallagher was already injured, so he still has 2 wins over Daivari, so it's 2-1. The feud's going to continue, and both of them are amazing, especially Gallagher. He's just, oh god, he's fucking amazing. Now the third match of the night is Swann versus Brian Kendrick. Now this match was interesting. It wasn't as good as their last week's match. I really liked the match last week, but in this match they had a lot of signatures, a lot of near falls, a lot of, building up to that finish. TJ Perkins was at commentary, and he had a couple of funny back and forth insults with Austin Aries. Austin Aries on commentary is pure gold, and I was surprised. I was looking at his Wikipedia randomly like a day or 2 days ago maybe, and he's 38 years old. That is fucking old in the wrestling business, man. And I was upset. I looked at it. I was like, I thought Austin Aries was 34 or 35. Like Daniel Bryan is 35. So I was really shocked. I was like, really? He's 38? And I don't know. I don't think he's ever going to make it to the main roster. I really feel like that they're gonna they're gonna have him wrestle on 205 Live. He wins the Cruiserweight title a couple of times, and then he's just going to be a commentator like Taz. When Taz came from ECW in like 2000s or whatever, early 2000s, and he had a couple of matches, feuds, whatever, and then he became a commentator. I think that's exactly what they're going to do with him. You can have him as a coach because he's great on the mic. He can teach you how to cut promos, and he can teach you the in-ring stuff because he's great in the ring, and he's good at building characters. So I don't know how they're going to use him. I hope he gets on Raw or SmackDown someday, and you could give him maybe a US or an IC title run, but we'll see what happens. 38, that is fucking old. Basically, so let's get into the matchup. I went on this Austin Aries road for some time, but the match itself, as I said, there were a lot of signatures, a lot of near falls, and there's this time in the match where Brian Kendrick's going for the captain's hook, and Swann is reversing it, like he's holding the hands back, but then Brian reverses it back into the captain's hook, and this was a second captain's hook, and I just, what I don't like about this is that it makes Brian look weak. Like he even hit a Swan with a sliced bread outside the ring, and when they got back in, they had the captain's hook, and it just makes Brian look weak. But I get it, he's a heel. You need to make him, he has to be more frustrated. He has to be pissed off. That's what heels are for. But I just feel like that makes him look a little too weak, that he couldn't make him tap after the sliced bread and 2 captain's hook. So, but I like the match. It is what it is, man. I can't really complain a lot about it. Now they're outside, and TJP is at commentary, right? So Swann pushes Brian into TJP, and Perkins is pissed off, like, what the fuck are you doing, right? And Swann goes back into the ring. Brian and Perkins are face to face outside, and just going at each other, like Kendrick's like, hit me. So I get disqualified, like, the match gets disqualified and I win or whatever. Or maybe he didn't want that since it was a title match, but they were waiting to see what's going to happen. I really thought Perkins would punch him and it would end as a DQ, and he wouldn't get the title, but he gets back into the ring, Brian Kendrick, and he gets hit with a spinning heel kick by Rich Swann in 1, 2, 3. Rich Swann wins and retains the title. Good for Swan. I like him as a champion. Now Brian Kendrick is pissed off. He goes back out and he attacks TJP, and Swan comes running back to help Perkins. And he's hitting Brian Kendrick. He's holding Brian Kendrick now. He's punching him, holding him, whatever. And Perkins tries to super kick Brian Kendrick. He misses Kendrick and hits Rich Swann. So that's how the pay-per-view ended. He hit him, and Kendrick hit Perkins, and Perkins and Swan were on the, outside the ring, just laying down, and Ryan walked off. That was the end of the show. So they're building towards the Swan and Perkins feud later on. I think it's going to be Perkins versus Kendrick first, and then we're going to go towards maybe Rich Swann versus Perkins. But in the future, I really want to see the Cruiserweight title on three of my favorite people in the division. First, in no certain order, Gran Metalik. I love him. I am a huge Gran Metalik fan. And the second guy being, as I said, Jack Gallagher. And the third guy now, that's a tie between Tony Nese and Austin Aries. You know what? I'm going to say Austin Aries. Austin Aries is Austin Aries. I want to see the title on Aries as soon as possible. He's my number one pick. Make Aries the champion as soon as you can. Maybe Aries is going to win the title at Royal Rumble. You never know. You never know. I mean, they might have a pre-show match since there's going to be so many matches on Royal Rumble, and the Rumble itself is an hour long. So I don't care whenever it's at. Pre-show, main show, just make it happen. Make Aries the Cruiserweight champion. The crowd, man, as I said last week, the crowd was dead. SmackDown crowd, throughout the SmackDown show, they were dead. And when this came along, they just didn't give a fuck. How do you expect the kids to know who Jack Gallagher is, who Arya Daivari is, who Tony Nese is, who Drew Gulak is? They look at commentary, they're like, "Daddy, who's that dude in the shades?" Kid, that's Austin Aries. That who? Austin Aries, former TNA World Champion, ROH TV Champion, I believe, or ROH Champion at a time. And he has a good resume, and he's an amazing wrestler. But the kids won't get it. So they need to move the cruiserweights. They need to move 205 Live on Wednesdays. And something that I had in mind was forget Raw and SmackDown pay-per-views. Maybe you just have cruiserweights on Wednesdays and have their matches at takeovers, at NXT takeovers. That's something that I really, really like to see. I mean, takeovers, they're short and they're sweet, and that's what I love about them, but they could maybe fit in another match for the cruiserweights. But we'll see what happens in the future. I'd like to see cruiserweights perform in front of a crowd that understands and respect what's happening in the ring, and that is certainly the Full Sail crowd, or the NXT crowd, whenever you travel to other countries, to other cities, to other states for your takeovers. But that's my 205 Live review. I like the show. I personally, if you ask me what to watch, Raw or 205 Live, I'd say watch 205 Live and fuck Raw. Raw is just terrible. Just terrible. So this is it. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to the channel if this is your first time, and if you liked this review, if you liked the video, add me on Facebook. The link's in the description box below, and we'll talk wrestling, because I fucking love wrestling. And my favorite cruiserweight is someone who's not in the division, but he is Austin Aries.